Hello, my name is Daniel Yuck. Thank you for watching today. I appreciate your time and support. In today's video, we are going to be diving into a video and I'm going to be sharing with you how to become a professional tattoo artist. Should you have any questions at any point throughout this video, I encourage you to drop a comment down below. I will do my absolute best to assist you in the best possible direction. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and ring that bell for me, as I will be bringing more videos like this for you all. I do also have social medias under the same name as my YouTube channel. I have Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok, all under Daniel Yuck. I would appreciate the support over there as well. With that being said, let's get right on into this. First and foremost, this isn't by any means a guide or the only way to go about becoming a professional tattoo artist. More so, this is the way that I am going about becoming a professional, and these are the experiences and kind of steps that I'm taking to become a professional tattoo artist. This will vary from artist to artist, and artists may even feel differently about the way that I approach it. Getting an apprenticeship, of course, it'd be ideal to begin by getting a traditional apprenticeship where we have a professional show us the ropes in each and every step of the way. But it seems as though in these times, getting a traditional apprenticeship can be next to impossible for most of us. There are hurdles, stipulations, and life-changing choices that we have to make when jumping into a traditional apprenticeship. What about those who can't get an apprenticeship? Before I started tattooing, even on fake skin, what I did was I practiced my fundamentals such as my holding style, my posture, my lining, my shading, my dot work on paper. Knowing these fundamentals such as lining and shading on paper, taking that into tattooing, it translated well and provided me with a far better foundation to build and develop off of. I practiced my fundamentals on paper for about 6 to 7 months before I ever picked up a tattoo machine. I highly recommend taking about 6 months to a year to practice the fundamentals on paper before stepping over onto fake skin. There is no rush when it comes to tattooing, and I feel like practicing that sense of patience is very important, especially as an apprentice. I feel like it's important to take that disciplinary action of being our own apprentice very seriously, as that discipline is something that we're going to need to take with us in the future. Back when I started tattooing, I practiced on plain old boring composition journals, lining from right to left. However, now I have created an assortment of various tattooing workbooks that you can use to exercise and develop on your end. They are available by clicking the links in the description below. I will leave my affiliate links down there, or you can head on over to Amazon and type in Daniel Yuck to see an array of different tattooing books that I've created. These tattooing workbooks are specifically designed to help us develop and progress in our tattooing journeys. So as I was developing my technical abilities, what I started doing in unison with developing those technical abilities was learning about the hygienic side of tattooing and the cross-contamination side of tattooing. And this is where I really spent a good amount of time. I probably invested about 7 to 9 months total, something in that time frame. It is a bit of a blur, just into specific cross-contamination, how it happens, what it is, the dangers of tattooing. I really put my time and effort into this department because I wanted to keep myself and my clients as safe as possible. I felt that it would be a much better approach to learn about the cross-contamination side and more so the medical side of tattooing, which I can then use that information and knowledge as a foundation to help me pick the gear that would best fit my wants and needs as the tattoo artist. I do take my time to develop my technical abilities, so I'm not in any rush to get good fast. What I was more concerned about when I first started was cross-contamination and keeping myself and my client, again, as safe as possible throughout each and every tattoo session that I provide. So where I am at right now is I've spent about 6 months to a year studying the fundamentals of tattooing and studying the hygiene and medical side of tattooing. And again, this part right here is going to kind of foundate the future for my tattooing. I'm going to use this information to work off of, so it's not something that I'm going to learn and then put on the back end. I chose to learn this information specific first, such as paying attention to the fundamentals that I'm going to be using, like lining and shading, and focusing on the cross-contamination side of tattooing, because that's what's going to keep me and my clients safe. So these two are the first pieces of information that I wanted to personally learn, again, to have that foundation to build off of. And I'm going to explain a little bit more on this foundation that I'm talking about. Okay, so now that I've been practicing my fundamentals, now that I've been studying the medical side of tattooing, I'm now more equipped with a foundation to pick tattoo gear. So now, about a year into my tattooing journey, I'm looking into different tattooing gear. This is going to be fully subjective. Every artist is going to be different. Some artists prefer coils, some prefer short pin style tattoo machines. But after a year's worth of studying the fundamentals and practicing the hygienic side and medical side of tattooing, I'm now ready to begin picking gear. I'm going to use those medical practices that I was learning along the way and apply that to the gear that I am using. What that means is I'm going to pick gear directly correlated to a workflow that I envision. I have to use my imagination and figure out how I want my workflow to be. Do I want to set up multiple machines, one for a liner, one for a shader? Do I want to be able just to switch out the needle, lower a voltage, and maybe even change a stroke? How do I want my workflow to be when I am tattooing? Me as the artist, since I'm going to be the one providing the service of tattoos, I have to think about this and really take this into consideration. Now, where that medical information comes in is when I decide what type of gear I want. In my case, I went with a short pin style tattoo machine. I wanted to go with a machine that I can fully disassemble and really get to each and every crevice. So that way when I'm cold sterilizing, I can touch the entire surface area of my machine for optimal sterilization results. So before I ever added anything to my cart, I really took the time to think about the workflow, breaking down, setting up of my machine, and how I wanted all of that to go. And then with the medical information I learned, I also put that into consideration. I needed something that I can clean and sterilize easily. I needed something that was safe and low risk, and again, that's why I personally chose the CNC Q2 as my first tattoo machine when I started tattooing. Some main questions that I asked myself to help me determine what machine was right for me was how I wanted my setting up and breaking down to go. How was I going to go about sterilizing my gear? Do I want to use barred needles? Me personally, I didn't really like the idea of having to switch out a barred needle or setting up multiple machines for different elements of a tattoo. I like the workflow where I'm able to switch out a cartridge and then be on my way. To me, that is far more better than having multiple machines. To each their own. But these questions right here were directly contributing to the reasoning behind my choices of picking out my gear. Once I got a little bit more familiar with my wants and needs as the artist, I was in a bit more of a position to begin investing into a gear that is appropriate for my wants and needs as the artist. When I began selecting my gear, I also wanted gear that I could not only develop, practice, and use, but gear that I could grow into and tattoo with. So I didn't want to kind of spend on the cheapest of the gear, and I didn't want to spend on the most expensive of gear. I wanted to find a middle ground and find something that was within my budget for that moment in time, so that way I can begin building that foundation. I think that jumping the gun within any apprenticeship is how tattoo careers can go down really quickly. I do feel like having that sort of discipline and level of patience throughout the tattoo apprenticeship is very, very important and kind of sets the overall tone for a tattooing career. We should go through hurdles and we should handle each and every one meticulously and calculated for the best possible results and outcome for our tattooing career. I knew that I was going to need a machine that was able to line. I knew that I was going to need a machine that was able to shade, dot work, pack, as these were the elements that I was using and that I do use within my style of tattooing. For example, one of my favorite style of tattoos that I do is mandalas, which is different line weights, dot work, smooth shading. I could even do stipple shading within my mandalas. You get the idea. So I needed a machine that performed on all of these fronts, which is something that we want to consider when picking out our gear. I really do feel, as opposed to jumping in and kind of just adding to cart, we should really figure out what we want from the setup first and then go into researching and figuring out what gear is right for us with that information, as opposed to kind of just jumping right on into it. I do feel like, again, going back to that discipline and patience, that really does go a long way, especially within the world of tattooing. So I not only needed a machine that performed on multiple fronts, I did need a machine that checked out on the hygienic side of tattooing. Again, I needed a machine that I was able to break down and sterilize in a manner that I felt was most effective and efficient. So because I knew more about cross-contamination, I was able to make the choice of picking a machine that I was able to completely disassemble. Because I took the time to learn about the cross-contamination side of tattooing, that information is directly contributing to specific machines that I want to use on human skin and specific machines that I would only use for practice. So you get the idea. I feel that's why it's important to start with fundamentals, practicing on paper, and learning the medical side and hygienic side of tattooing before anything. So where I am right now is I've spent about a year practicing fundamentals on paper and developing a good sense for medical and tattoo hygiene, and then from there I'm also now ready to go ahead and start investing into my tattoo gear. Taking the time to figure out what machine I feel would be best for me, I went with the CNC Q2 at the very beginning for multiple reasons. One, because it was within my budget. It was a budget-friendly tattoo machine. It did offer performance on multiple fronts, from lining, shading, dot work. I was able to do all of that with the CNC Q2. Not only that, one of my favorite aspects about the CNC Q2 was that I was able to fully disassemble the machine and cold sterilize the entire surface area of the machine, which is something that's really important to me as the artist. So you can see that right there is why I chose specifically to go with the CNC Q2. This is going to vary from artist to artist. You may choose to get a completely different machine, which is completely fine. But again, you can kind of see the reasoning and logic behind my choices. So now that I'm investing into a tattoo machine, I'll also be investing into various gear such as fake skins, loads and loads of fake skin, tattooing inks, an assortment of different needles, some petroleum jelly. You get the idea. So I'm going to want to start investing into the gear that I will be using to actually start tattooing. Now, at this point, I still have zero intentions of tattooing any human skin anytime soon. All I am doing right now is I'm taking the next step up those stairs and I'm getting the gear to me so that way I can begin to learn how to properly set up, properly tattoo. You get the idea. This is going to be a long, slow burn process as opposed to something that we immediately get and do. One thing that I want to note is that first year that we're taking time to learn the fundamentals on paper and the hygienic side of tattooing, I would also recommend that it is possible to tattoo or use a tattoo machine within this era of our tattooing journey. We can use a pen or a pencil on paper to practice the fundamentals along with my tattooing workbooks, or we can pick out a tattoo machine and use ballpoint cartridges to practice on the tattooing workbooks. For me personally, if the tattooing workbooks were around when I first started, along with ballpoint cartridges, I would have chose to get a tattoo machine and practice with the machine on the paper. This for me would have been a far better approach than a standard pen that I use. However, if a standard pen worked for me and bettered my abilities, then I can imagine using a tattoo machine with the workbooks is only going to do more. And from my experience, it really does have a positive impact when we get to starting using a machine earlier on paper with ballpoint cartridges as opposed to later. It really does have an overall better impact on our performance throughout our tattooing journey. I kind of feel like it also gives us a jump start on tattooing before we get to fake skin, so that when we do get to fake skin, we're going to perform a lot better than we would have if we didn't practice with a tattoo machine on paper. And again, I will leave links for you in the description below to all of the workbooks that I've created for tattooing that you can check out on your end. If you do find yourself wanting to use a tattoo machine within that first year of your fundamental development on paper, I encourage you to get a tattoo machine to your liking that suits your wants and needs as the artist. Get some ballpoint cartridges and get some of the tattooing workbooks that I've created, and again, I will leave links for you in the description below so that way you can check out some gear on your end. However, when you utilize these resources, they do have a positive impact on the overall tattooing career. So in my opinion, it is a lot better to spend that year practicing with a tattoo machine, even though it is on paper, spending the year getting familiar with those fundamentals, and then as we start leveling up, we are going to see those translations within our tattooing as we start tattooing with ink and needle. I do have full in-depth reviews on various tattoo machines. I do have in-depth reviews on various tattoo needles, ballpoint cartridges. I do have various reviews on the workbooks that I've created for tattooing, all available on my channel. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring that bell for me, as I'm going to be bringing a lot more videos like this. The next part of the journey for me to become a professional tattoo artist would be to get my gear and begin doing the footwork. The exact same footwork that I have been doing for the past year or so. the same lining, I'm gonna now do that with needles and ink on fake skin. Keep in mind, I still have zero intention to tattoo any human skin at this time. All I am trying to do is now get familiar with tattooing needle ink to fake skin. I want to go for clean, solid, consistent, saturated lines. I want to go for clean, consistent, smooth shading. I want to be able to use multiple different needle configurations, from round liners, round shaders. I need to have multiple techniques under my belt. So you get the idea. That's what I mean by footwork. From here on out, I'm going to begin practicing, and this is probably where I'm going to spend a lot of my time on my road to becoming a tattoo professional. On my road to becoming a professional tattoo artist. This is the part of my tattooing journey where time seems to get longer. Here I'm going to spend the next 2 to 4 years mastering all of my technical abilities that I'm capable of. And then this way, as I'm mastering my technical abilities, I'm going to naturally start figuring out what I like and what I don't. Therefore, I can kind of define and grow into a style, as opposed to worry about what style I should be doing every step of the way. So what I'm going to do now is, again, do that footwork. I'm going to practice the same fundamentals that I have been on fake skin. I'm going to go for the lining. I'm going to make sure that I get good at that. I'm going to go for the shading. I'm going to make sure that I get good at that. And keep in mind, I do have various videos on all of these aspects and fundamentals on my YouTube channel. They are available. You can just search them up, find any video that you need on multiple aspects of tattooing. But now I am in the long game. This is where I'm going to spend, again, the next 2 to 4 years, maybe even 5, working on all of these fundamentals, mastering them on fake skin. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that I'm gonna have to spend the entire time on fake skin. Along the way, should I be presented with opportunities to safely tattoo human skin, I will go ahead and take the opportunity and do so, should I feel ready. If I don't, if I can't plan out a tattoo, or if I don't feel ready in general, it's not something that I'm going to take on. The priority within this time frame of my tattooing career is to simply master and learn the fundamentals, get them down. That is all that I am trying to do within this era. Learning all of those fundamentals is crucial. This part right here, I feel, is really going to set up the tone for the rest of my tattooing career. Some may feel that this time frame is excessive. However, for me personally, as a tattoo artist, I would rather go this route and have a much more confident and fulfilling tattooing career over go to a route where it was about money, trying to get income as quickly as I can while providing less than quality of work. My goal is to learn the fundamentals. My goal is to master the art of applying tattooing, creating designs along the way before I tattoo human skin, so that way I can take all of these learnings and findings and apply these to real people and to do great tattoo work on humans safely, correctly, all the way through. So therefore, I give myself these extensive time frames to really take my time and learn all of these fundamentals in a manner that is at my pace, that is something that is not rushed, something that is thought out, something that I'm putting time and effort into. I would much rather have a safer approach that is more thought out, that does require more time up front, than have an approach that is a bit more dangerous, rushed, and not of good as quality. So at this stage, again, I'm really going to take my time and really develop and master those fundamentals. I still will even be practicing on paper. I still do practice in my tattooing workbook still today when I'm on the go. Any chance that I get to go ahead and practice my fundamentals to get more acquainted with hand speed and voltage, I take the opportunity to do so, because I feel the world of tattooing is ever learning, meaning it's never done. We're never going to be done. We're never going to be done learning. We're always going to be able to learn something new. So that's the way that I approach it, and that's the way that I'm looking at it. So this era of my tattooing apprenticeship is very important. It's very important that I'm patient, and it's very important that I do put in that footwork to learn all of the fundamentals that I'm going to need to tattoo successfully on human skin. Once I feel confident with my technical abilities, once I've gone over these years and I've practiced every single day, and once I've done the footwork, here we are 3 or 4 years later, I feel I'm at a better stage now to present the portfolio that I've created using those fake skins and present them to a tattoo shop of my choice. So what I'm saying now is I do feel like I'm now ready to transition from practicing on fake skin over to human skin. Now this transition is going to vary from person to person because we all live in different places, but the idea is you want to have a portfolio of your best works on the fake skin. I mean, not too much, not too little. You want to to have, you know, dynamics, show some maybe lining, shading, show what you can bring to the table, and then go to tattoo shops in your area that you're interested in working at and present them with your situation. What I'm going to do is I would just present them with the exact situation, tell them what I've been doing, reasoning behind my actions, and what I am trying to do. Intent is very important. I am now at the stage in my apprenticeship where I would like to tattoo professionally and be given the chance to provide people with quality work in a specific tattoo shop. Now that we've taken the time over the years, now that we've done the footwork, we're now in a position to apply to become a professional tattoo artist. Now, depending on who hires and where we apply, when we get into a shop, would determine the overall, I guess, bridge there. We're going to bridge that gap of professionalism once we start taking on clients within a tattoo shop. We could either have our own clients already established and kind of send them to the tattoo shop, or we could develop them at the tattoo shop along the way. It'll probably be different for everyone, but the overall idea is to have a portfolio that we built in that important era of our apprenticeship of our best works to give to a tattoo shop, to give us a chance to tattoo there, to give us a chance to learn, grow on human skin. Maybe we could even find a place where there's better tattoo artists around so we could even learn from them and grow even more. So you get the idea again, and this is where that bridge comes in, and this is how we would become a professional tattoo artist. I feel like it's important to let the shop owner know, or whoever you're speaking to about hire, your exact situation. Let them know that you took time to learn on your own. Always be open to input and advice that anyone should give you along the way. I feel that if we're more of a team player attitude where we're easy to talk to and easy to get along with, we would have more opportunity than being more reluctant to people's advice or information. Sometimes the way that we do things may not always be the best, and we as artists have to be open to that and be susceptible to information that may better us in the future, as opposed to taking offense to any sort of criticism or advice we should receive. I feel that if we should go into a tattoo shop open, honest, at a level head, then there's no reason why we shouldn't succeed and have a career that progresses and blossoms over time as we progress and get better with our skills. It's really all about that transparency and honesty up front. Don't be ashamed of your situation. Don't hold back. I encourage you to just reach out to shops, go with it. You may be nervous at first. However, if we're sticking with it, if this is something that we really want to do, we will be rewarded. That right there will be it for me to conclude this video. That right there is the road that I'm taking to become a professional tattoo artist. Should you have any questions at all, I encourage you to drop a comment down below. I will do my absolute best to assist you in the best possible direction. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and ring that bell for me, as I will be bringing more videos like this for you all. I do also have social medias under the same name as my YouTube. I have Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok, all under Daniel Yuck. I would appreciate the support over there as well. Don't forget, I will be leaving my Amazon affiliates to various beginner gear that you can use now and grow into in the description down below and in a pinned comment in the comment section. I thank you for tuning in, and I appreciate your time. Have a great day.